So episode 2. Cheers. Woo.
Woo.
Let's get to the shit talking.
Damn, I was strong.
Let's do this.
That's what happens when you're 30.
Welcome to
episode 2
of
Life Be Lifing.
Lifing. All right.
Yay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. We are on episode 2. Episode 1 was so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
We love the outpour of love from all 10 people who have watched it. It's amazing.
Yes. Cheers to
that. But again,
and cheers to the next couple of thousand people listening.
Exactly. So welcome to our podcast. For those who are just coming here for the first time, I'm Mo. How do I describe myself?
The first half of Mo Square.
I'm Mo, and she is
Mudupe.
And we have a guest speaker today who goes by
Bari.
AKA.
Put your lips on the mic, yo. Put your mouth on the mic.
Oh, you got it. Oh.
Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
The liquor's not hitting yet. Nah, but I go by the Bari, Sosa, Papa. Go ahead.
B Esquire.
Yeah.
All right, so just kind of like a relationship check-in, of course, for those who haven't been here. Mo and Mo, we are best friends, and we have been best friends since like forever. We decided to start this podcast, just kind of like to just get all the life be lifing shit out the way and just have good conversations about it and share with the world. Right. And we invited Papa here today to join us because we had a very, very special topic today. It's just about like aging, adulting, and my nigga look like he 30 going on 50. So, we just thought, let's invite him because he acts like he's old. So let's let's kind of segue into that,
Let's get into it.
So so today's episode is just about being like the how life be lifing when you're in your 20s, right? You think like you're the youngest shit in the world. Life is good. Yeah. And then you turn 30 and literally it's like the world knows it's your birthday at 30 because that 30 mark, your body just starts to break down. Like every day you're waking up with some kind of pain, your back, whatever it is. But like, can you believe that you're already in your 30s?
Man, definitely can't believe it, man. It's like it happened overnight. And the body definitely felt it too overnight.
Right?
Yeah, it's wild.
Right? I feel like 30s, like, I remember when I was in my 20s and I'll be with like my cousins, my older cousins, and like they were all like in their 30s, 40s, and I used to look at them like, damn, these people are
be
old.
older. When you look at it like that, we also are looking at, damn, we're just gonna get the freedom from our parents where our parents are not gonna tell us what to do. You have to be in bed at this time. You have to do this. You have this. You have to. We are Nigerians, so that's never gonna stop, right?
Right.
But there's a bit more independence because you have more freedom to do, and you have more independence over your life, and you're making more decisions, right? So
I get that, but what I meant was more of them being in their 30s and just looking much older than what now me being in my 30s feels like.
Right.
Like you look at them and they were just like older. Like you just looked at them as like, damn, they're in their 30s. Like in my head, it felt like 60s.
Right.
And like, it's like, damn, it's going to take a while for me to get there. And now that I'm there, I'm like,
are you ready?
Do I look?
Do you feel?
Am I as old?
Do you
as
feel?
them?
Yeah.
Like,
do you even feel?
In my mind, I'm still this young little baby girl, on the streets, chilling. But like, it's weird. Like, it's crazy how like when you turn 30, like your mentality might feel young, but man, your body is the one that like reminds you of your age, right?
What was the biggest thing for you guys, like in your 30s or when you turned 30, that you were like, damn?
I feel like you're not even up to 32.
I was just asking a question.
I know.
What was the biggest thing in my 30s that made me be like, damn? To be honest, nothing really, because except for the body aches. Yeah. Like, it's like when I turned 30 was when I started, like prior to being 30, I think I went to the hospital like once every year, which was for like annual checkup. That's even if I even went. I think I went because school said go or like work said go.
Yeah.
Like I was always like a healthy. I didn't even used to take vitamins because in my mind I'm like, I'm in the sun, I have vitamin D, I'm moving around, I'm dancing, my energy is popping. In my 30s, if you look at my vitamins cabinet, I got it all. I got the C, A, B, C, D, E, the whole fucking alphabet. Like, it's just crazy how, like, and then when I go to the hospital now, they're like, oh, yes, ma'am, vitamin D deficiency. Oh, yeah,
you know, take more iron.
You obese, you need to lose some fucking weight. Like, mind you,
Start doing your BMI.
Yeah, I know.
You have high blood pressure.
Yeah, I think you need to drop that sugar level. No more ice cream. You're like, damn, like, I don't even eat ice cream every day. Like, why am I fucking fat? You know? So I think for me, that was like, besides that, my 30s have been like amazing though. Like, I feel like in your 30s, you have more money, like you have more direction in life. You know, like that part is cool, but then the adulting, like the reality of adulting, nah, that shit is a motherfucker. Like that shit is scary. It's almost like you have to make important decisions for your life. But then in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to be an adult. I don't want to make those decisions. I don't want to do that. Like, it's weird because your parents shield you, like throughout your teenage life, but then you get to 30 and you're not relying on them anymore. Now you're making the decisions. Right. That's for me. That was yours.
I mean, I don't think a lot of people back then. I guess now it's a bit different. Back then. Even though it's just a couple of years ago.
Old heads.
Yeah. They don't
talking about a couple.
Yeah. I mean,
can you close your nose and mouth for a couple of years? You old, mama.
I mean, but it's kind of like we're having a lot of conversations now about aging, even about life in general, that we typically will not have had, or we did not even have back in the days. Especially, I mean, coming from a Nigerian family, we grew up, we spent our formative years in Lagos, right? Before we moved for college.
I don't know. I think mine is balanced now. I'm more Akata now. Like, I'm more American because I've been here like half of my life. I'm American now.
I'm telling you, I live in Lagos. I'm telling you, we're having a lot more conversations, even though that there's still a lot of work to be done with regards to having more conversations, more honest conversations about what it is like being a woman living in her 30s, you know, living in society today and everything. It's easier for the younger generation to learn now from our experiences than we had, because a lot of our experiences that we're going through right now, our parents did not necessarily have that conversation with us. Our mentors or our older siblings didn't, even if they might have, I don't think it was communicated in such a way that we would have understood it, right? Or would have even like said, okay, let's talk about it. How are you feeling? What are the things to look out for? That kind of thing. So we don't have honest conversations, and you know, because our parents also try to shield us. You know, they over shield us. That I feel like sometimes it might be to our detriment because we don't have that hands-on experience, or we've never experienced it before. So I understand that they're trying to protect
100%.
us, but at the same time, what also builds character are the mistakes we make in life.
It's funny you say that. I have aunties that literally tell me, or even my mom will be like, you can't understand. You know, don't
try it.
Which literally just means your smartness has not reached that.
There.
And that was when I was in my teens. And now in my 30s, she still be saying that. And in my mind, I'm like, I think this woman is judging me because I'm not married. Like, she's probably like, when you get married, then you have sense. I don't get it. Like, I'm in my 30s. When does the ogbon, when does the brain, when does the smartness actually kick in? You know what I mean? But you're right. Like, a lot of them, they shield us from so many things that, like, and I think it goes around to all Africans. Like a lot of Nigerian people, parents are just wired that way to like shield their kids, make sure they protect them, you know, like from
I also think that
so many
a lot
things.
of parents don't necessarily even know how to have that conversation,
Right.
because don't forget that we come from a strict society.
They're not vulnerable.
And, yeah,
Right,
we
and
come from
I
a
think,
very disciplined society.
adding to that is like going into your 30s, you don't have that emotional vulnerability or financial vulnerability conversations with like your parents or, you know, folks that you probably looked up to when you were 20 that they were 30 or 40s. So I think that's also like a huge challenge going into your 30s or even being in your 30s. So
Yeah.
that's a big one too.
Yeah, it's true, because I think a lot of things I learned, no joke, was either through conversation. Like maybe someone is telling me about their life experiences, and then I'm just like, damn, learning from them, or like even YouTube. I remember like with like student loans, how to repay my student loans faster, or how to get out of debt. Because, you know, they don't teach you about debts. They don't, you know, that's part of life is life. And they don't teach you about the real life shit that happens
Facts.
in the real world. So it's like you graduate school, you have all this debt from like student loans, right? That in your mind you thought was free money. I was going to China. I was traveling with my student loans. And then, you know,
Balling on Salad May, baby.
I'm telling you, I was balling on Saturday. That's why I be wondering why they don't burn that building down. Like, can someone take one for the team? No, I'm just kidding. Please, we do not condone violence. But I guess my point is that, like, they don't teach you all these things. And, like, for me, I didn't know any of these things until I remember, like, I moved to Nigeria maybe a year or two after working corporate America. So I moved to Nigeria for 4 years. And I remember leaving and saying, deuces, ain't nobody paying no student loans. I'm going to check out. I'm going to see y'all later.
Here
I'ma go
we
to
are.
Africa.
Here we are.
They're not going to find me.
We are.
And then I come back and I remember very, very clearly, you know, I was like, I was getting all these like letters to uncle's house because that's where I used to live. And then, you know, I'm like, they don't know where I am, so I don't live here anymore.
Right.
So I just ignore it until they took, I remember it was the refund tax and I was working. So like maybe I was getting back like a good amount. I was so excited. I already knew what I was going to spend it on. That's how I just got a letter. Bam. And they said, oh, we used it to pay your debt. I was like, oh, they do that? How did they find me? And then that's when I was like, okay, you know what? I need to really take care of this. Like, I can't keep postponing it. And also, I was getting a lot of like fraud calls. You guys know how like they'll call you and be like, pay now, or you go to jail, and then you be nervous or whatever. So, like, no one taught me that. Like, I literally went to YouTube, watched a whole bunch of videos, and was like, oh wow, like this is, you know, like started to build my own like strategy of how I'm gonna pay it off. And
I
how
mean,
I'm gonna do
I
this.
remember
And how-
you had this magical Excel sheet that you used for budget tracking. You shared it with me. I have attempted to use it several times. God knows that.
Funny enough, I actually got that from your brother, Damola.
Alright.
Yeah, because I remember I came to Houston one year and like, you know, I'm still here trying to figure out life, you know, like trying to make it out the hood. Not really in the hood, but you know what I mean? Like trying to like just get more balanced, more happy with life, like not having to worry about like, in my mind then, I think every paycheck was like bills first. Like, oh, let me pay off my bills, let me pay off my bills. And then, so he and I were just talking. I think he was engaged at that time. They weren't married yet, but they were living together. And, you know, he kind of gave me like insight into like, oh, this is how they're budgeting. This is how they're doing all these things. And I think at that time they were planning to buy their first home. And, you know, just the way he opened, and till today, I love how transparent he was with me, because that's what has helped me throughout my, like now I budget so well. Like, I don't even do auto pay. I don't believe in auto pay. Every 1st and 15th, I sit down in my office and I start to do calculation manually, because I want to see what's going out, what's coming in, where am I spending my money, so that the following month, of course, I can, you know, readjust or whatever. But I think
30s, baby.
So yeah, that sheet was actually from him, and that helped me a lot. I still use it to today, and that's been like 5 years, 6, maybe like 6-7 years now. And I say till today, like I can see how, and right now if you see them, like they're so like unified when it comes to like finances. Like when I hear them talk, like Damal and his wife talk about it, like I'm just like, this is how I need to be in my marriage. So this sheet, it's coming with me. My man go, either my man got better or we using that sheet.
Amen to
But
that.
yeah, but that's part of adulting, is like just all the craziness that happens that you don't even realize, like, because no one teaches you. You just have to kind of like learn
Right.
as you go. And I think maybe that's what helped me, because then in my 30s, you know, like I was already balanced by then, and then started using that sheet, started really planning further. And then I noticed how, like, with my savings, I'm like, oh, I can use it for this, I can do that. And then started diversifying my portfolio, you know, like stocks or whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm still trying to get into crypto, you know, Mr. Jeff Lubin, you know, because he's very good at it. So, you know, still need to learn. I know I downloaded Coinbase, but, you know, I don't know what the hell's happening on that app. But, you know, but my point is that, you know, diversifying, trying to like really be an adult, you know, like take responsibilities for my finances or whatever. So,
I mean, but we also know that, like, I mean, adulting is, you know, when we were in college, we were looking at the fact that, like, running towards the end of that finish line, to walk that stage, collect that diploma. I mean, whoever told you
Get
you
that
need a
first
college,
check.
you know,
I
whoever
have
told you
a
you need a
funny
college
story.
degree, oh my God, like, we're all looking at it that as soon as I land, and I'm guessing that, like, life is just a walk in the park.
But would you say it's a cultural thing too, though? Because, like, you know, for us, like, that's all we're ingrained in, though, right? Like, it was like, there was nothing else. It was just like
because
college.
you were not coming out with any money. It's not like you were coming out. Your parents were like, "Oh, by the way, I opened this checking account for you. I've done your credit score to 800." I was starting from zero.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to make that money so nobody is telling us how to spend that money, or nobody is telling us that, oh, this is your budget, you have to stick to it. You know, if I want to go above budget, just this one time, it's my adult responsibility to go over that budget and take responsibility for it. But lo and behold, we learn lessons every day.
I have to tell you guys a funny story. Like, I'll never forget my senior year of college. I think I was going for spring break. And, you know, I was like in economy, seats 25, you know, right back, you know. And in my mind, I was like, yo, when I graduate, because I had gotten an offer from JP Morgan, and I was like, man, I'm going to be working at the biggest finance company. I was like, yo, once I graduate, business class only. Like, you know, I ain't going on no economy with these peasants, man. You know, like, nah. And I remember, like, I started working, and then I was going to Nigeria. So I was like, economy, hell no, let me look for business. When I saw the price of business,
you were humbled.
I looked at my paycheck, I said, how do people do this? I was like, what am I doing wrong?
I mean, how about those people that, like, where you move back to Nigeria, they'll say, oh, they're just going to go to London for the weekend, or they're just going to this place for the weekend.
And then you go look at tickets and you're like,
do you have
How
two
they do
heads?
Nah, honestly, living in Nigeria was also tough when you think about it, because they kind of, when you're a woman, they don't pay you as much as they pay the men.
Yeah.
So, and they just always think that women are lucky to find money. And I'm like, or like you have a dad.
So so I mean, obviously there's that conception, right? Women have pretty privilege. I mean, when you came to Nigeria last year, there was that, I had friends that came to Nigeria too, they were asking, oh, who paid for your trip? You know, that kind of thing. There was that that assumption that women don't are always fully reliant on guys, right?
And I really hate that, because it's like, I be busting my ass just to go in
understand?
Premium economy.
They're telling me that somebody paid for my ticket. Even
And
like,
imagine you now do business to travel, and they're telling you she probably has one baba or something.
Out there paying, or her daddy paid for it,
or her dad paid for it.
You know, like, they don't understand the fact that, okay, sometimes we have lives outside of our families, and we have lives outside of what society tells us.
And some people are just hustlers.
Yeah,
like you want a good life for yourself.
Yeah.
So you put in the work.
Do you understand? I can't be eating jollof rice in my father's house. I go and be soaking gari when I move to my own place. It doesn't work like that.
100%.
Do you
That's what
understand?
the 30s offers you, though.
But
right?
I mean, tell
That's
me,
what
Papa,
30s
what does it
offers
look
you.
like? But what, from a guy's perspective, right? So how has it been like going from, because obviously we're talking from
A woman's
we're
perspective.
girls.
Yeah.
I mean, so our own
Sure.
experience is way different from yours. So what's your experience been like graduating from college, going through all that, dating, and
boy.
also how you're handling all the attention and all that? Tell me more.
I mean, it's been a journey, though. Like, it's been crazy. Like, obviously from college, 20 days, you know, partying, You know,
20
like,
days what?
Partying, you party all day, every day.
Partying all day,
college.
back to back.
First of all, you know, shout out to UA,
Hey,
University
you know.
of Albany. That was once the number
You
one
know.
party school. So we
Kegs
got
and
lit.
eggs.
We got lit. I mean, we did graduate. Some of us graduated with cum laude. You know, let's put that out there. But at the same time,
And some of us graduated.
But we partied hard, like partied really hard. Like school was a party school, so you partied like Thursday college night, Friday, whatever. Like there was always like, you know, a fun. I ended up in the right school, but I agree. Like Albany was a party school.
Right. So like in that sense, like, you know, you partied a lot. You weren't really thinking about like the future per se. Like you were thinking about the future more of like from a, oh, how am I gonna please my parents kind of thing. Like, okay, let me graduate. You know, let me get a steady job and stuff like that. And honestly, for me, the 20s was more of just like a fun year, and like going into my like
Funny or fun decade?
Fun decade.
Decade.
I like that.
Definitely the decade.
It was a fun decade. I traveled a lot. You know, I lived my life, and you know, going into 30s now, it's more of like, you know, getting more intentional with like what you want in life, because like, you know, life be lifing and life be coming hard and fast. So it's like more you trying to plan those things out and be purposeful with those things, and you know, that's kind of been the journey since 20 to 30. And you know, it's an amazing journey.
Let me ask you a question, right? I'm about to put you on the spot real quick.
Ahead.
So
no pressure.
You know, you know, Papa went back to do his master's law school, and you know, you were living in like you know, dorm life kind of apartment.
Yeah.
What was the feeling of like adulting? You know, when you moved into your big boy apartment, you know, because we came to visit you in Buffalo.
Right.
Like, how was the transition from like dorm room sharing with like, you know, other people? Because you was on Washington Ave, bro.
Yeah,
you was in the hood. So
Yeah.
like, how was that transition? Because I know like in college, everyone is scrambling with money, whatever the case is. But then when you now got your first like low paycheck, you know, my boy is a whole esquire, you know, holla. Like, what was that like for you? Like,
I mean, the biggest transition is not like trying to, you know, coordinate with your roommate. Like, how far? You know, I have a babe coming over. Like, could you just stay in your room for the like,
You didn't have to put the sock in the door.
Exactly, right. You don't have to do all that, like all that BS. You know, like, you know, having women be comfortable when they came over, that kind of thing. So,
you was having women?
you know, something like that.
A little light.
Something like. But yeah, like then moving into like more of like a luxury living.
Luxury apartment, yeah.
It's like, and then having your own space, it's like top tier, and like, I mean, it's just hard to eventually go back from there. It's just like all the way up from there, you know, and like just building and building up from there. So,
yeah. You know, it's funny having older sisters. I mean, being the last born, I never got to experience basement living, soffahead apartment, because like the moment I graduated college, Pidgey was already in an amazing luxury building with like hot tub, sauna, steam room, and literally
We have
I love that beauty.
We had memories there.
Memories in that building. And literally, like, that was the beginning of my soft life. I graduated college, and like, so like that was what I saw. Like, I never got to like live in a $500 apartment, and I feel like as soon as I lived with her for a bit. You know, my sister don't play no games. That's the second sister we was talking about in the first. She said, "Mo, you paying rent."
Pay up.
So she was like, "You paying rent." So like in my so it's like I feel like I missed out on that part where like I could have saved up a lot, so maybe I could have just had that little hustle bustle. But instead, I was sweating. You know, trying to pay that rent was not easy. And then maybe. But you know, the craziest part of this whole thing is in college, I was balling way more than. When I got the job. And when I say balling, I don't necessarily mean cash in hand. I mean like,
You had
I don't know.
access to more cash.
No. I don't even know why.
Yo, you know,
I
I'm just talking to my cousins about.
I used to buy outfits.
But that's facts though. Like every party you buy different. I'm like, yo, where did I get that money from?
Because you can look at it like.
But then I look at it now, I'm like looking at my closet, like, I don't buy this out.
You gotta do budget for clothes.
Yes,
no, but it's crazy. In college, I don't
I was
know.
fresh every
unless
party,
I was using student loans. I don't know what I used to buy.
To be honest, I agree with what you're saying, right? But like speaking from my own experience, I'm gonna Lord help me. I still like my inheritance, but I mean, so basically, right? You know, so there was a point in time my dad took a sabbatical, like, and came to school to do a second master's, where he came into the States and everything, right? And he got to actually live as a student. He wasn't working. He went to school full time. So he came in, and then I had graduated and I was doing a program. And, you know, when he came in and I was like, oh yeah, so I need to buy books. I need to buy this. I need to buy that. So straight up, he told me, he said, I know how much books are. So the Orishirishi game you were playing before, you can't play it again. I said, okay.
But you know, people used to do that to their African parents.
Yes,
like,
now.
They'll literally be like, yeah, school fees is
because
due.
You could
they send school fees and they will end up not going to school.
You could trade your books for cash. You could rent books to save money. You could do so
look
many
at
things.
Kids, man.
So
you
tell
their
you
parents.
that, yeah. I mean, a textbook will be like $100 some back then.
I don't know why I was not that smart.
You rent it for like $30 because I mean we had the opportunity. So because I mean, you know that they're big on recycling. Right. So instead of buying, and obviously books are expensive, so they try to save cash. I mean, I took advantage of it.
I used to buy myself.
Right?
I used to be like, I don't want used. I want new.
And then this was before Amazon too.
My first question was, which are the core books and which are the supplementary? The core ones I'll get. The supplementary, go and find it online. I sat down online.
The funny part is that I will buy all the books. I'll carry the books to school. I would never read it. I will go to I will go to sparknotes.com, put chapter 1 review, and just read that.
Yeah, they're really showing their age right now.
And then SparkNotes was free.
SparkNotes was free.
It's not free anymore?
Actually, you know what's funny?
Is that still SparkNotes?
Oh, now you showing your age.
It's paid. Yeah.
Now you showing your age. Literally, we were talking to Jazz. And he was like, oh yeah, you got to pay for it. We're like, whoa, really? Show your age. But now, honestly, like being in your 20s, there was just so much freedom. I mean, granted, I guess as a last born, which you are as well, like your older siblings kind of spoil you sometimes. Like I remember my first laptop, my sister bought it for me. She called me one day and she was like, oh, where are you? I was like, oh, I'm in the library. And she's like, oh, really? At this time? I'm like, yeah, I don't got no laptop. I got to use the computer school. She was like, oh, okay. And then she was working, she had a job there. She was in oil and gas. So she was like, oh, go to Best Buy and pick up the laptop. I was like, oh. I said, I can't wait to get a job. I mean, I need that kind of luxury.
I mean, on that same page, like, I feel like my brothers gave me like a false sense of partying. Because like,
you know what? Let's blame no. Let's rephrase that sentence. They gave us.
For real,
they
like,
made life very soft.
You know, like, you know, you're
remember
in your 20s.
when they used to live in Maryland?
Yeah, Maryland to New York, like
Cherry Hill,
like incognito days.
Cherry Hill. That's the address right there.
That apartment. Like, you know,
but honestly, I did not know enjoyment. Until I mean, I had enjoyment with my friends in college, but the enjoyment, I think, you know, with our family, I feel like there's always that one moment where you unleash into the real
when it's like unleash the dragon.
And a lot of us, we unleashed through Damola Adeshola, his brothers.
Yeah,
we unleashed through them.
Yeah,
I remember being in high school. In fact, let me make you guys laugh. On my 18th birthday. I went to Maryland to go party with them, you know, because it's my 18th. They're like, come, we'll show you a good time. I go, and they got me a 21 fake ID to go to a 21 party on my 18th. When I was happy that finally I get to the club. And I still needed a fake ID to go to a 21. It's a lie if this is the police. But really and truly, like, it's just, they unleash the partiness in my life too.
Yeah, like, even in college, like, you know, partying with them, it's like, you know, bottle service. So you go to a party in college, like a club, you're like, all right, we doing bottle service? And everybody looking at you like, what's that?
When I was in Albany, man, it was straight up Long Island.
Cups, red cups.
It was Long Island. It was that blue drink from WT's. I can't remember the name. Man, Jungle Juice. Like, nobody was doing bottles. But then when I would go to Maryland, that's where then there was like bottle service and you know, all that stuff. But yeah, for sure. But then I mean, that's another thing Nigeria causes is a false hope of turn up. Like sometimes, like, you know, you just want to have a drink, you just want to chill, but then they always for guys especially, it's like you feel like if you're going out, you have to do bottles, you have to do all these like extra, especially if you're going with girls, you know, it's like almost like an impressive thing. What's your thought on that actually? Like,
I mean, in the past, and this is like from the 20s to the 30s, like in the past, like that was kind of me, right? Like, oh, you have to always do bottle service every time you go out, right? Because, you know, that's what everybody's doing. You know, you got to fit in with the, you know, who and who. But like, I feel like in 30s now, it's more of just like, I'm fine going to like a chilled lounge, that kind of pee. Like if there's a lot of people in that group, then bottle service, sure. But like if it's just like 4 of us, there's no point of getting bottle service personally. But you know, that's my take.
But I like to have my own space.
I mean, but you guys are speaking from an American perspective, right? I mean, speaking from a Nigerian perspective, first of all, if you go to a club, they don't sell drinks by the glass. You have to, it's only bottle service in the clubs in Nigeria. Yeah. And
but if they be having bars, so what do those people
no. Some places actually have bars.
If you cannot, okay. So if you're a girl and you're not getting a table and you just want to have a good time, you can't just go to a club.
All,
if you don't get money, hide your face.
First of all, let me tell you how sexist. Let me tell you how sexist Nigeria is. A single girl can't walk into a club and sit down by the bar and get herself a drink. They will automatically think that she's a runs babe.
They do that in Houston too, actually.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was a point in time where when I had just moved back to Nigeria that time, and then my cousin Yinka, one of my other cousins Yinka, and one of our other mutual friend, Ayo, we would go out. We went out a lot, you know, and we became regulars at this club, right? And
regular babes. Security was saying, madam, you're back again.
Welcome.
So, I mean, it got to a point where the manager came. I was like, oh yeah, we gotta move. But the bartender was like, no, that why should we have to move? That every time we come, we actually pay for our drinks and we pay for it. Like we come, we buy a bottle, we pay for our drinks. And then the guys that are coming with their babes buying bottle and they are not paying for their drinks. They'll buy hundreds of thousands worth of bottles and not pay for their drinks.
I owe you.
They'll tell you I owe you. And you realize that there's that kind of impression going on. And you know, I mean, now things are a bit better, but when you look at the cost of buying shots or buying drinks, so an average cocktail in Nigeria goes for almost 10,000 minimum.
Naira.
Yes.
What's that in dollars?
That's like about, I don't know, to be honest. My math.
That's like $20.
They're about,
yeah, about that.
So if you buy, and then Nigerians can drink. Some Nigerians can drink. If you say, for you to get a good buzz, you now say, okay, let's do 5 shots. That's almost a bottle. That's the cost of a bottle.
It's funny.
So that's what I was saying. Like, it depends on how many people are going out, right?
Yeah.
Like, if it's like a decent group, like 5 or 6 of y'all, and y'all
Makes
know y'all
sense.
gonna be drinking like that.
Yeah.
Because
sure,
think about it. If you do 5 cups of cocktail, you're damn near buying a whole bottle anyway. So it makes more sense.
So that's why. And then obviously because of hygiene, and you don't know what the hygiene looks like over there and everything.
Before they give you house liquor.
Yeah. So I mean, over here you have health and safety, right? That they constantly check the bars, restaurants, and everything. But in Nigeria, nobody does that. I mean, even if they do come and check it, right? All you need to do is just tip one guy one key, and then you know. Meanwhile, there people are getting sick, right? So it's quite a different perspective from both angles.
So another funny thing is in your 20s, right? Like all of us, all 3 of us actually, because we're all ton of people. In our 20s, we rocked.
We rocked.
We rocked. I remember.
We go party hard.
I'll go out.
Party hard.
I'll go out Friday, Saturday.
The weekend started on Thursday. The weekend started on Thursday. There was a point in time I'll go out. The weekend started on Thursday, but like, no.
Thirsty Thursdays.
Wait, excuse me.
I'm hoping to calm down in my 30s by God's grace.
Because I was like, girl, you still be on the street. But now, in reality, I feel like in my 20s, I had the energy, the drive, excitement to go out. In my 30s, I don't mind like brunches, day parties, like
Right.
things in the day. Like nighttime, I'm just like, nah, I want to be home.
Better take your
And,
nap before you go
You know,
out.
I had a realization one time, and I think what helped to, I guess, settle me down was having my own space. I feel like once I got my own space and I started like decorating the way I wanted, no roommate, like just me, I felt more like happy with my home. Like I'd rather people come over to my house, let's hang out, than go
Right.
out. So then I became a homebody without knowing, like
Right.
until someone brought it to my attention, and I'm like, that's true. I actually don't like going out as much anymore.
I think reverse was the case for me because when I look back during college, I was like a lot more quieter. And yeah, no, I mean, Moyo, you can't compare our relationship, right,
Okay.
to
You and the world.
to me and the world,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
In school, on campus, I was actually quiet. In fact, at one point in time, some people even thought I had transferred out of the school.
Wow.
I think it's also primarily because I made it a purpose not to, I don't want to say I made it a point, but like I was intentional about like making friends outside of the Nigerian circle. I mean, I went to Kentucky too, so there was a healthy mix. No, there were tons of. There was even a Nigerian community. I was quite shocked, right? Yeah,
Nigerians
but
go
like
everywhere, man.
I was intentional about not being. I wanted to get the study abroad experience. I was intentional about not being friends, like making friends outside of Nigeria. And I was more quieter. It was when I got to Nigeria that I now started coming out. I started
Showing your
coming
true
out,
self.
showing my true self. But now that I'm in my 30s, so like I felt like my first couple of years in Nigeria, I kind of like relived my college experience, kind of like
For sure.
Yeah, because I went out, you know, I enjoyed myself, I partied, you know, and then my 30s hit, so there's more structure. You know, I'm looking more to I'm trying more to just create more balance in my life, and be more intentional even with the decisions that I make about like my career, my personal life and everything, because you realize that like for me it was like by your 30s that's when you actually start getting to know yourself better,
Right.
because you've experimented a lot
Yeah,
in your
for sure.
20s. So in your 30s, you already kind of have an idea of what you like, what you don't like. So you're already starting to actually build your life. And that's why we were having this conversation, was it last night? And we're like, I don't believe that people should, like, even when you're looking to settle down in your, you know, to get married, you shouldn't even get married in your 20s, because 20s is like a self-discovery phase. That's when you're experimenting what you like, what you don't like. Do you like white girls? Do you like black girls? Do you like Latino? You know, that kind of thing. And then, you know, even picking your career path,
Right.
you know, what is your core focus?
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
is your 30s that you now start building, that you actually really truly start building your life.
You get more serious
agree.
with life
Yeah.
at 30s.
Yeah, you're more
Yeah.
intentional with like you like
Even
more-
more intentional with your
I have a very, very
relationships,
serious
right?
question. Did you guys know that in your 30s is when you start getting gray hair? I always thought gray hair came...
Even with this,
gray hair
even
came
with
out.
this,
40. I thought at 50, that's when gray hair started.
even with my head dye, I still see gray hair.
And I just saw gray hair. I said,
That'll
"Can you do-" And then when I see like my friends that I went to college with, or like, you know, guys I went to school with, high school
Salt and Pepper?
with Salt and Pepper, I'm like, damn, that's us.
That's us, yeah.
Like that's my people. We own that.
Damn.
Yeah, and they'll
30s,
be
man.
like, "Ah, my back is paining me. I know if you play soccer again, or my leg is paining me." That's soccer. That's Ronaldo soccer that they used to do. You know, I'm friends with a bunch of my friends. They still play soccer in their 30s, early 40s, and you just see them running. Sometimes my friend will make me go and watch, follow him to go and watch soccer. You just see them running, possibly everything jumping. When they kick ball, they'll fight. I said, how can you do this? You're not scared of just your bone, just mistakenly, you know, doing. They said they've done it all. They've seen it all. They just do the most that they can do. Can't you see that when they kick with soft kick, so that they don't do mistake and break.
No, I agree though. Like even when I was in my 20s, like I used to work out like crazy, man. Like
Swole.
to a certain point,
Yeah.
I felt like I was
Yeah,
on
you
steroids or something.
Uh-huh.
And in my 30s now, like shit, man, I still be
You
trying
just
to work
let it
out,
go.
but like
Actually,
I
reverse
got-
is the case for me. I find
I
out I
got a
work out
good
more.
40-minute workout. Before it used to be like in the hours for like be in
2
the gym
hours.
for like 2 hours, like swim, but like lift, cardio. But now it's like 40 minutes. All right, I got
That's
my
why
good workout.
that's why a lot of men let go. like they be having pot bellies. Nigerian men, but I think it's the carbs too, because we eat a lot of rice, a lot of eba.
And
We
the
like
alcohol,
Nigerian
we
food, the
drink a
alcohol,
lot. We
and
drink a
alcohol
lot.
belly fat is like pretty thick. So
Yeah, we drink a lot.
I mean, women too, we have the same problem. So don't look at me anyhow. So I ain't saying nothing. But yeah. But I think in my 20s, my perception of 30s is similar to what it is today. Like I always thought like in your 30s, you'll be more serious. You'll have kids. You'll have, like more of direction of what you want. I mean, granted, I don't have kids. I'm not married yet. But like, I just feel like, 30s is where you're supposed to. I agree with you, Dupe, in terms of like 30s is when
You're building for
like,
longevity.
I feel
and
like
stability.
I feel like if I got married in my 20s, I don't know, I would have struggled because honestly, in my 30s is like where I did like self-discovery, like therapy, like, really tapped into like traumas, like anxiety, like knowing these things, like what triggers what, and I feel like now if I was to get married, like I would be more conscious of like, okay, this is the direction we're going. It's more team. It's not a one-on-one thing. Because if I got married in my 20s, my mind's like, oh, you have to stay at home. In Molo Street, we're going to turn up.
Yeah.
And the thing is, till today anyway, I love partying with my family. Like my family is my turn-up crew. When I hang out with them, I even forget I'm a lady. Like I'll be out there doing electricity, like I'll be lit with them.
Yeah.
But like, but my point anyway is that like now in my later 30s, like mid 30s, I feel like my perception of what I thought 30s would be is exactly what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, because even when I hear even when I have conversations with some of my friends that are actually in their 30s that are married, we go through so much. Even living in Nigeria, we go through so much. We're dealing with infrastructure issue. We're dealing with security issue. Imagine having kids. Imagine having kids. The cost of living is going up. Inflation is going up for the removed fuel subsidy. Salary is not increasing. You're earning naira that is not stable and it's practically useless, right?
Yeah.
And then imagine those parents that sent their kids here for education and then with the inflation, school fees
was it was $1 to 250 when I left Nigeria. It was actually $1 to 100 naira and 50, 150 when I moved to Nigeria. When I left Nigeria, it was at 250. Wow. Now it's 800. Can you imagine you sent your kid to school? Like thinking, I can afford 20k school fees.
Right.
Then first now year, second year you've paid, third year you can't afford it.
You'll be saying, bro, it's time to come to Unilag and finish up.
Because it's depressing.
It's wild. Yeah. Either that or they got to take a lot of student loans if they can. Like I don't know how it works with international kids.
So,
but
like now you find that there are a lot more scholarships targeted towards women, targeted towards Africans, targeted towards teenagers in Africa and everything. But like back then, it was international students could not get student loans.
Yeah.
We had to pay tuition in full, right? Yeah. It's easier right now, but then also you're also competing with thousands of people. The competition is a lot more higher right now. But one thing I'm really excited for is our next generation. Primarily because they're doing a lot of things that and having a lot more conversations that we should have had,
right.
Like and
we didn't have. Though I feel like
but what conversations?
My only concern.
Just say the conversation.
Let me finish. My only concern, right, is how everything is just going. Everybody's in their feelings, saying that they relate like this, they feel like this, they relate like something, and they relate to, let's say, cauliflower, or they feel like they relate to a cat and they are walking around with a tail. We're all human beings. We're all looking to build a better future for ourselves, right? The kind of conversations that we find like they are trying to step out of that restriction and box that we have put ourselves in. So in the typical Nigerian work environments, how they are saying that you have to show up. If you don't, or you have to be at the office by 8, or they'll deduct and that kind of thing.
You're speaking more of like a millennial versus Gen Z mindset, right?
Yeah,
I agree. I think I'm not even going to.
Gen Zs would be 20s.
Gen Zs are just the new age, the young people now.
Fox given.
And exactly. I'm not even going to lie. As a millennial, as I work with Gen Zs, I don't be liking the motherfuckers.
Ironically, I love Gen Zs.
No. Do you work? No. If you have Gen Zs that report to you at work, you will know that.
I had Gen Z.
Let me tell you, I used to be I used to be pro Gen Z. Like I used to be like, I love their free spirited. I love their like the way they stand up to themselves. Like us now, if your boss calls you at 9 p.m., you feel like shit. I need to respond, even though you know it's off. What they be like? Nah, I closed at 5:30. I ain't coming back.
You know what's good to
respect my time.
I like.
You know what I'm going to love about this podcast?
Let me land.
You know what I'm going to love about this podcast?
What?
You'll be speaking from an American perspective, and I'm going to be speaking from a Nigerian perspective.
Probably, yeah. But I like I like their energy and stuff when it's not directly related with me.
you.
But when I'm working with them, I'm not. I can give you a few examples.
Yeah.
Like literally, I'll be having a meeting. Like I would call someone who's a Gen Z, in previous jobs, and I would literally I would tell her, hey, oh yeah, let's have this meeting, blah blah. She'll be like, oh, my eyes hurt. I've been staring at the computer nonstop. I'm like, oh, I gotta go I'll call her and be like, hey, can you jump in a huddle real quick? Oh, I've been sitting for too long, so I'm just gonna I'm actually taking a walk right now. Yeah, that's how Gen Z behaves. Or like they'll like normally, especially if you have a job in America anyway, if you have a job that has unlimited vacations, like personally, I don't even care if you take 10 weeks off or whatever, as long as you get your job done. But I feel like sometimes, but I always tell them, like, you got to give like a 2 weeks notice before you take a long break, like a week or whatever, like for more than 4 days. You got to give me 2 weeks in advance, especially when you work for small companies, because somebody has to do the job you're supposed to do.
Right.
So either you kind of make up for it for that week that you're gone, like let's put a plan together.
Right.
You can't just come to me today and say, oh, can I have tomorrow off? But these Gen Zers, these motherfuckers, they're bold. They be like, oh yeah, I just got my visa approved, so I'm gonna jet out tomorrow. Is that okay? I'm gonna go for the week. I literally had somebody tell me that, and I was like, mute this motherfucker. Like, I was like, what? Who does that? But like, that's Gen Z for you. So I think personally, as much as I like their personality and I like them from afar, but when it comes to like, especially when it comes to a work situation, I don't like it. And also, not to fault them or anything, but like, I feel like America also gives them that leeway, because we make them feel like, for example, why should, and I know people might come for me for this, and that's fine, I'll take it, but like, why should you come and say, oh, I don't have a gender, like, oh, I'm not a he or she, I'm a they.
I mean, I completely agree with you.
Like, it confuses, because you're confusing everything we've known forever.
Society has created,
and it's not even like I understand when you say, oh, I want to identify as a woman because you're going through like transsexual, whatever. Like, I get that part. Or like, but when you start saying, oh, I'm not a gender, don't call me she, he, call me a they. They is not defined as a person. They is a group of people. You see what I'm saying? So like, it's so confusing, and maybe it's because I'm a millennial.
Just say you
I
have
don't get
multiple
it.
personality disorder. Let's move on. Because there are many people, and
So
the thing is, like,
it's
you know, it's
confusing.
kinda,
It's like you're messing up it's not like the they affected anybody or the he or she affected anybody. So to me personally, I just get a little confused as to like, why would the world now change the definition of what it's always been just to make
a generation happy?
You know, like we came into this world and we said, oh, this is how it is. It's okay. But in terms of like, of course, being gay, being openly gay, I totally understand that, because it's your sexuality is your choice. I'm pro that 100%. But it's when it starts to come to the they and the she and the he, like, I'm just like, oh, on your birth certificate it's a he, but I don't identify. Like, that's just confusing.
I mean, I think it's like this generation that we like. So I guess like it's this generation we live in that's like the freedom and the liberty of everything, right?
Yeah.
But I guess like going back to your point of like the Gen Zs, right? And if you were in their shoes as you're in your 20s, would you want someone in their 30s that's similar to you right now to somewhat mentor them, like, or try to talk to them and say, hey, like, I get, you're very outspoken and bold with your views on working, but like, you know, you still gotta understand or learn the corporate culture. Would you have wanted that if, you know, you were in their shoes?
100%. Like
Yeah.
you,
So I guess
it's,
like
is knowing the being at the right place at the right time. Work is not a PlayStation. Like work is to work. Like
Yeah.
you there's a goal. Like and I think that's what they miss out. They think, oh, work is just to get money, to get paid. Oh, there are other options. I can do YouTube. I can do this. I can do that. But in reality, like if you I mean everybody's different, but like me personally, I don't go to work because of, oh, I'm gonna get paid today. I go to work because I'm trying to like do something great for myself, like actually feel accomplished, like I'm doing this. I mean the money of course is there, but like I mean
work is stability, right?
Exactly. And for you to get that stability, you have to put in the work. But like it's almost like they just feel, I'm not in their heads, but like I get the perception that like it's like, oh, it's just a job. I don't care. It's not my father's job. I don't have to put in all the work. I'm here. I'm coming in 9 to 5. I do what they say I should do. Whatever happened to going above and beyond. You know what I mean?
Have you tried to like mentor them though in the past?
I just told you I work with them.
But that's what I'm saying.
wait,
The difference
Papa,
between
Papa,
working
Papa.
and mentoring
So
them, like, hey,
but also you understand that, like, you know, we're at a time where a lot of people are claiming to be things that they're actually not, right? Or they don't know how to do it. Even selecting mentors, a lot of people don't really even know how to be mentors.
Right.
Neither do, and also a lot of people don't even know what to look for in selecting their mentors.
Right.
I personally, I mean, I had a wide opportunity to receive, like, to get mentorship from multiple people, but like for me, I was kind of like selective of who I wanted to mentor me because I was looking for attention, and I didn't really know in my 20s personally, I didn't really know what I wanted per se, or what my direction is or will be, right? I didn't really get into the mentorship, like say, oh, please come and be my mentor, come be my coach, you know, till my 30s, because I wanted to be more strategic and I wanted to get the most out of what I could get from my relationship. I didn't know when I was in my 20s, but I just knew that I was working to make money, and I was working because I wanted to make money so that I can live my life, you know, pay my bills, that kind of thing, right? So when you say, oh, can we mentor Gen Z? It's very difficult. It's very difficult because not a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people don't really know how to mentor.
But I'm not even saying like trying to. So I guess like I'm looking at it this way: like you're not forcing yourself to mentor them, right? It's just more
like
of like coaching. It's like, hey, like, you know, just FYI, like, you know,
they don't see
they don't see it that way.
That's the issue.
They don't see it that way.
Most
right?
of them don't see it that way.
They're born in an era where technology has gotten to a point that it makes your life easier. We were born when technology was just picking up. You know, we lived through the VHS, you know, we had the Walkman, we had
CDs,
everything. Do you understand?
We actually saw
everything.
the generation shift 3 times.
Yeah. So like we are the gap between the baby boomers and the Gen Z, right? So if that mentorship should come, right, it's kind of like we have to put ourselves out there, right? And mind you, I feel like the mentorship we get from baby boomers originally is somewhat shaky at best, because they're from a society that is not as technology enabled, right? Which makes it difficult for them to relate to some of our experiences and some of what we're going through. So even if we go to them and seek advice from them, they can't really relate, or they can't really give the advice that we're looking for, right? We then can give that advice to the Gen Z. The question is, are the Gen Z ready to accept it, or do they even know what they're looking for right now, or do they even know what to look for right now? They're just focused on, I believe that they're just focused on living their best life, which I think that there's nothing wrong with it. I just think that there just needs to be a bit more focus and like, I guess a bit more intention in how they live their life. There's a bit of nonchalantness when it comes to how they deal with things and how they react.
When you talk to a Gen Z, they're like, man, you trying to figure out your life.
You understand?
Who are you to tell me
What to do?
But as
You
I'm saying,
understand?
that's exactly it's like
So
contradictory to
they
what you're
have to be
saying.
willing to accept
You're here
it.
saying life is life in, and then you're like, yeah, but look, you're doing it the wrong
Right,
way.
right.
Go back. Go
You
back to your
understand?
life.
Yeah.
And then come back. Yeah.
Right.
Because even when then those people that are, and you find that those people that are also willing to like advise don't even really know. They are just surface level packaging.
Conversation, yeah.
Surface level conversation and full packaging. They don't really know. Is either they're doing it just to get the credit, say that, oh yeah, they mentored this person or they are a mentor on this person, but do they actually want to mentor? Because I feel like mentorship is an act of service.
Right.
So if you say that you want to mentor, you have to be ready to impact that person's life and to, be ready to, add value.
Yeah.
Don't say that they are giving lip service and that kind of thing to that. Because mind you, the Gen Z, they see us.
Right.
And they see us live our best life. They'll see us in Zaza popping bottle. They'll see us looking fine. They'll see us popping, rocking the latest
But I don't know
bags
why
or that
they're
kind of
doing
thing.
it too.
Eh?
These Gen
No,
Zs are
they are
doing
doing
it
it.
too.
They're doing it too.
can
Do you
imagine-
understand?
No, think about it.
No, they're
College
doing
kids
it,
now,
but they're
they're
not
wearing
seeing-
designer head to
they're
toe.
doing
I mean, not
But
even
they're not
college kids,
seeing
high
how-
school kids are doing it.
They're doing it, but they don't see how we worked for it.
How are they doing it?
Now YouTube.
The same
now.
way we are forever
The
21.
same
Them
way
they are
we are
Balenciaga.
podcasting and we are entering YouTube. I mean, we started from Forever 21.
But not
we
all
started
of them.
from
Not all of
yeah,
them do
we
social
started from
media.
Forever
though.
21. We started from Zara. We started from H&M. They jumped straight.
That's my point. Is that
Yeah.
you're comparing $20 shirts to $800.
But it's all
t-shirt.
exposure too. That at the
Yeah.
same time, right? Like I feel like then we probably were not as exposed because of
I
like
was, I was like, the hotel pay more now.
Yeah.
I might need to get
Yeah.
a job out there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because like social media changed the dynamics
Yeah.
of all
That's
of this,
true.
right? So like,
And
when
the new generation
And the
parents
culture,
too.
yeah.
The new generation parents to also change
Right.
the dynamic
Right,
because
give them
would
that stuff,
they give
right?
them
So it's just different.
So, quick question:
Don't
What
be a
is
hater.
what is a life lesson you wish you knew in your 20s that would have really helped you navigate life better? So, what is like a life lesson you wish you knew in your 20s that you know now that would have helped you to navigate life in your 20s better?
Life in my 20s better. I mean, it's kind of a give and take because I mean, if I'm going first, like it's one would be like really money management.
Money management for sure.
But like, I don't know. Like, I still feel like I'm happy I didn't have that knowledge because like,
because you would have enjoyed.
You would have yeah.
yeah, I would have been so disciplined and I would have
Yeah.
held back from having like the life I did enjoy in my 20s. So like, I wish I did, but at the same time.
But don't you feel like your life in your 20s, you are living it this almost similarly, but now you have more money?
Yeah.
So yeah, that means you're spending more because like you traveled before, but you still
Yeah,
travel
but
now.
the fire on his
But now
bum
you travel
has
with like
dimmed.
nicer hotels, nicer, whatever, like that
Right,
you did.
but it's like it wasn't like a YOLO kind of thing, right? Like
Oh, okay.
now, like it's more of like when you do travel, you
Strategic.
budget your
Yeah,
trips
yeah,
now.
yeah.
It's not just like, all right, I'm gonna travel.
budget. Yeah. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
mean, it's not like you're just gonna travel and be like, yo, the black card, unlimited budget. Like that's how 20s kind of felt for me. It was
Give
like,
me two.
all right.
I mean, black card.
But now, like like I said,
I think for me, one thing I wish I knew about was credit points. Like I didn't realize that like, yo, everybody you be seeing be traveling free, yo. Like, you
Facts.
buy tickets, you do the points thing with your credit card, do the points thing with your travel, like you pick an airline. And it's weird because in my 20s, I traveled when I was in college, I traveled a lot, but I was
Right.
using different airlines, whichever cheap one, I wasn't doing points. And I used to go to Nigeria every Christmas. I used to go to London every February for winter break. So in my mind, if I'd stuck to one airline, I would have been having points. I would have been flying free.
Right.
Like compared to my 30s now, where by the time I do like a couple of flights here and there, I get one for free and I can go to like Mexico or go wherever. Or like credit card points. Like I remember I had the Nigerian mentality of I beg. I don't want credit. I don't want to use a credit card because credit card is like not your money, it's the bank's money. So I would always use a debit card until later on in life. And I wish I knew I had the mindset of what I know now about credit cards and like how, of course, when you have a credit card, don't go and overspend more than what you have in your check-ins. But like, I would have accumulated so many points to be able to do so much more, right? Because there's so much perks from these things that like I feel like we miss out on because now you work. You can't really travel whenever, however you want. But like back in the day, you could be out like all the time.
Right. It's kind of like letting credit cards work for you kind of thing as opposed to the opposite of like.
And I remember it was Mobola that actually, her sister, Dukwe's sister, that actually talked to me about it because I think her boyfriend at the time, husband now, like did something similar like with credit cards. And she was just telling me about it. And I was like, you know what, girl? I'm about to go pay for some platinum card, you know, like, you know, because it made sense, like when she broke it down to me. And that's part of the whole, like, you don't really know these things until you learn from somebody else. Like, no one teaches you these things. And that was when I was like, sheesh, I need to step my A game up, you know. And then I started doing it, and then I started seeing all the perks. And now I'm an advocate. If I see someone's using debit card, I'm like, man, you better go get yourself a credit card because that 1 point will go a long way eventually, right?
Yeah. Life hacks.
What's yours, Jukwe?
I think for me is that I'm not an island. Like I'm learning to have more conversations because I'm more of a because I kind of like left to school really early. I left really early to, you know, and
Jeff, is the video going to be dark? Should we turn on the light?
Yes.
Behind you?
other side. Yeah. Okay, so I'm like out.
Is it better?
No, it's bad, actually. It's getting better, though. It's auto.
Okay. So what was I saying? I was saying that like I'm not an island. I'm learning to have more conversations about like being vulnerability and being more patient because I realized that if things didn't go my way, I was not patient enough to like even try again or just patient enough to maybe it's like just readjusting something. And I just needed to be more patient and I need to have more conversations because I realized that as opposed to having to try to solve all my problems, like having conversations with other people, which is what you did with like Mobile, right? Tends to give you other ideas to inspire you to solve like whatever problems that you're having, right? And yeah.
So one other question. So dating in your 20s versus dating in your 30s.
I'm not gonna lie.
Dating your 20s was better?
No. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I was intentional about not having any stable dating long-term relationship in my 20s, primarily
City
because
girl!
City girl! Oh my God, city girl!
I mean, I wanted to explore my 20s like as much as I could, right? And
Straight!
I mean, I didn't think I should tie myself down to a guy at 25, 26, 27. I was still discovering myself. So why commit to someone when I haven't discovered myself, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, discovering yourself or even knowing yourself is a lifelong journey. Right. But like the kind of stability that you want for the kind of relationship, you know, by the time you're 30s, you know what you can't settle for, or you know what you don't want, or you know what you know what you can't settle for. So you know that you're looking for a friend, you know, a lover, a companion. You know, you're looking for someone with a good head on his shoulder, right? That can build for longevity. You know, and you know that if last he can put food on the table, because being in a marriage is more than just love and sex, right? It's also like the other dynamics. You have to be able to provide for the family and things like that. If I was in my 20s, I mean, well, you have that picture mindset of, you know, a house, a fence, and all that, right? Again, I may not have the patience to commit or to even have a proper argument. You know, if you have an argument, you say a lot of things that you would regret saying, because, you know, when they say omode lunche, you know, because you're not mature enough to understand that you just gotta be patient, or step away. You know, you react as opposed to just taking a breath and then acting, right? So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
To the boys!
Baby boy Lomo.
Nah, for me, it's definitely been different. Like, you know, similar to you, Duque, it's like, at 20s, you are really like experimenting, right? With who you want, like who you want to be with, like that kind of like what do you like, what that kind of thing. And I feel like when you get into like your 30s, like you've kind of experimented, and you kind of like now know like what you want, similar to what you were saying, like who you want to spend like longevity with. So like I think that's the biggest difference between 20s and 30s. Like 20s, like you're just just out of college, getting paid.
I mean, 30s, when you turn 30s, like graduating college, literally, because then you're officially starting really and truly.
I remember when, like, in my 20s, like, dating, when I'll be dating a guy and then he'll start talking about marriage and I'll get, like, anxiety attack because, like, I used to be like, marriage. That's lockdown, because a lot of examples of marriages I saw around me
We're not healthy.
We're just not, they weren't popping. Like, I was just like, you'll meet a guy, you guys will party, turn up, have a great time. But the moment he decides to marry you, lock up in the house. He's on the streets, but you are in the house. And I used to be like, I like my life outside.
But it's funny because back then you didn't even really know. You didn't even know, because you'll get questions of, why aren't you ready to settle down? Or why don't you want to marry? But you don't really know. Like when I was like in my 20s, I didn't really know why I was not ready to settle down. Looking back now, I'm like,
I knew.
Like,
I was
looking
like,
back now,
I grew up in a single household.
Yeah.
And I was like, all the married people I be seeing, they be struggling. My mom was living her best life. I was like,
yeah, but
I want
like
to
me, I
live
just
my
kept saying
best
I was
life.
not ready. I was not ready. I didn't know why I wasn't ready.
In
But
my
like
20s,
now I can
don't even,
articulate
in my
it.
20s, I don't even think I wanted to get married until like, I remember in college, like in my head, I just always thought like by 22, 23, everybody got married. So like in college, I used to tell them, oh yeah, I'm gonna get married by 22, 23. It is what it is.
Right.
But then when I now moved to Nigeria, I was having a blast. And then you see like really bad examples of marriages as well. And now it's just like, it used to be really hard to even say, oh, these ones are good, like young ones anyway. I used to be like, like it's just crazy to me. And I was like, I don't know if that's what I want. Like, I just want to have a good time. I want to have fun. I didn't think of marriage in my 20s. I think it was when I became like, maybe, I think it was my 28, 29. I dated this one guy, and, he would always like drum marriage in my head. Like, as a wife, you should do this. As a wife, you should do that. And I was like, maybe, and then something happened where we had to fight for love, and I was just like, damn, this marriage thing, is this what it feels like? Someone really loves you unconditionally.
Africa, you're living African magic at that point in time.
No, I really was. So in my head, I was like, you know what? Maybe this marriage thing is not a bad idea. And then in my 30s was when I started dating a little bit more intentionally. So like, I like to say I'm a late bloomer when it comes to like love and marriage. I'm definitely a late bloomer. That's why I'm not surprised I'm not married, because honestly, I feel like I'm learning every day. And to be honest, I also like, I won't lie, I like my life. I am living the best stuff life. I do what I want to do when I want to do it. I have a good life. Would I like someone to join and of course have a good life together? For sure. But like, if marriage is going to equal stress, you're not hanging with your man is going out with his boys, does not want to be home, he's going to be outside, I don't want that shit. But if it's marriage where like, oh, we're partners, we're turning up together, we can be baby boy and baby girls together, have a good time together, actually be committed together. Like, that's the kind of marriage I want. And I think I personally don't feel the need to settle until I find something like that. Like someone who's on the same page. And it's not settling. It's not like I want to settle with a guy just because I want kids. In my head, if I don't find a guy, it is what it is. But if I do find a guy that actually, like, I feel like we would make such a fun, happy life together. Yo, I'm so down for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But personally, I don't feel rushed. I feel like I'm a late bloomer, and I am very okay with that.
I feel like everybody should take their time. Marriage is a lifelong decision.
Yeah,
I mean, and the way
Exactly.
people are doing it these
and
days,
happiness
not
matters
really.
in
And
marriage.
happiness
It's not
is
just
real.
it's not
It
just
matters.
having kids. Like, who go like, nah. And just to shout out to my cousins, my male cousins who are married. Honestly, the way they are fathers to their kids, I cannot have less. I cannot have a man that just come and do chuku 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 and leave.
They set the benchmark.
Nah, they set the benchmark. Like, they are present.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Sure.
I always tell people that it's such a weird thing in my head because I didn't grow up with that. I actually learned by watching my cousins, my uncles, like doing these things, and I'm like, I like this. Let me put notes. I like that. I'm gonna take notes. And I just love the way they are with their kids, like the way Yinka is with Eli, with his kids, the way Damola is with his kids, like William is with his daughter, like. Even William is a baby boy, but like with his daughter, he's a dad. Like, it's just amazing to watch how they are with their kids. That to me, I want that in a marriage. Like, I want my husband to be very present, and I don't think I would settle for less. Like, be with a guy that is not at home. Oh, I'm working. No. You're gonna have to tell your boss 9 to 5. You better be a Gen Z for that guy and come home. You know what I mean? But like, that's my take on that anyway.
Cool. I agree, man. I agree.
Awesome. This was a very, very cool conversation.
Yeah.
So I guess to wrap this up, would you say your 30s are definitely better than your 20s? Or like, what's your take on that? Or do you think your 20s was lit? Which of the two?
I find my 30s more insightful. I find I'm beginning to. It's a lot harder because I find I'm making a lot more tougher decisions.
Life decisions. Adulting.
Life is definitely life in my 30s because reality is hitting more.
Yeah.
The economy is not helping, definitely. But I'm going to enjoy my 30s. I am enjoying my 30s, to be honest, because I am making more
decisions
I'm
for you.
growing into myself.
Sure.
I told you, I don't know if you remember the last time we spoke, I was telling you like the past year is like where I have actually begun to understand myself a lot more better. So I can tell you that the next 7 years till I hit 40, it's going to be awesome.
Nice.
And in all reality, like, definitely I've seen that growth in you as well. Like, especially now in this period of life you're in, it's like you have this ease of life. Like, whereas like I can see you're more serious about or more intentional about decisions that you're making. And I think that's the best way, honestly, is like just as long as you're doing it for yourself, that's what matters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're picking things that make you happy. You're putting you first. You know, yes, family is great, everybody's there, but you have to be happy in order. If your happiness doesn't shine through you to others, then everyone's just going to be miserable. So I love that for you. I love the fact that you're being more intentional with like, life decisions anyway. Yeah, Papa, what's yours? What do you think? Life be lifing, or
life be definitely lifing in your 30s. I don't know. Like, I feel like the 20s was fun. I look back at it and it's like, that was a great time. But like, I feel like in this era of 30s, it's like it's kind of a different self-life era. Like, it's like, you're making more money. You're taking like more exclusive, better trips. And you're like more intentional with like what you're just looking for generally in life. Like, I feel like the 20s was, like I said earlier, it was just more of like play, experimenting, figuring out yourself, figuring out what you want in life actually.
Yeah.
And now 30s, it's not like I get it, I got all my shit together, but like it's like life be lifing. Like, you're more purposeful now at this point.
Yeah,
and like
more
you know what you
intentional.
want in life. So that's kind of like, I'll definitely pick my 30s, and I'm rocking 30s.
Rocking 30s. I like that.
I love
30s.
it.
Yeah, I don't know who invented soft life, but honestly, it came at a perfect time. Like, I feel like
From when Val started singing Soft Swoko.
Oh, really? That's where it came from?
It's our walk.
But it's freaking global. Like, everybody's all about that self life now. Even when you go on YouTube, like, everybody's like hashtag self life. But honestly, I feel like you said, like 30s is definitely like the ease. Like, you're just like 20s was life is lifing. Like, you're just doing basketballs with life. But like your 30s, you're trying to be structured. Producer, please, can you hold your phone?
The Jeff.
But but 30s, you're trying to really structure it so that you're not making too many mistakes. And that's how I feel with my life now, where like I'm trying to make better decisions, even with like dating, whether with work, even jobs. Like, I'm like, nah, you got to be the right thing. Normally you're just like, I need a job. I'll just pick whatever comes. I remember I was like, no, I know what I want. I know exactly how much I want. I know exactly the kind of company I want to be at. And as strategic as I was with it, I felt like I finally found that like that happy place, right? So it's almost like my 30s is like very structured, soft life. I'm making not perfect, but really better decisions than I did in my 20s, and more intentional. So definitely I'll pick
30s over
20s. 20s life was lifing, but my 30s has been, life still comes with the goes and the bars, but at the end of the day, like at least I'm able to work through it much better than I did in my 20s.
Yeah.
So
I think it gives us a bit more. It gives us a bit more experience in terms of handling the consequences of our actions, and we're ready to like
take on the world.
Taking literally, right? I find that I find it easier. I'm finding it easier that, you know what, it's okay to make mistakes.
Yep.
And as long as it's okay to make mistakes. You learn from it. You just move on from it, and you can never really, really like live that perfect life.
Yeah.
I mean, like, except if you're a billionaire, you happen to have $1 billion in your account.
No,
I
I really like what 20s taught me. For 30s, and
exactly.
I feel like it was great that I experienced that.
Yeah. Awesome. So I guess 30s is definitely better. Life was lifing in the 20s.
No cap.
I mean, this basically told us this conversation has basically pointed out that aging is not necessarily a bad thing, as long as we're aging gracefully.
The back still be hurting, but at least the mentals
get
is
your
great.
Fitness level up,
The mentals is great.
Yeah. Get your fitness level up. Don't stop that. I'm going to the gym a lot more now in my 30s than I was in my 20s. Sheesh. And boy, oh boy, we still see results though. We see results, but the body is sore, man. Every day I'm limping. You tell me you always say I'm doing slow motion. It's the body. It's the body.
It's the aging.
Wilson will come and say, oh, do this in the morning.
Who's Wilson?
My trainer. He say you should come and do, 50 burpees. There was a time he made us do 180 medicine balls, 20 kg.
Wilson is amazing too. Like I've worked out with him before. He's great. But anyway, this brings us to the end of episode 2. We did it.
Got through it.
But this was a great episode. Thanks, Papa, for coming through.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming through. Thanks for showing some love on our podcast. You're our first guest.
I know.
I feel honored. And it's been an amazing
conversation
episode.
Was nice.
Same here.
So
thank you.
So
it was a
for
vibe.
you guys, please feel free to like our podcast, subscribe on Apple Podcast, on Spotify,
on YouTube.
Like, subscribe. We're trying to get
Share
to 100
comments.
subscribers.
Feel free to send your comments and feedback.
If you have any questions at all on our Spotify page, you can leave questions as well, and we'll be more than happy to answer those. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you in the next podcast. As always, peace out from Mo and
Mo.
And
check it out.
Peace.